Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Not a whole lot in the news, but some concerns have popped up that we should go over. Let's go ahead and get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. Let's go ahead and deal with the good news first, I guess, if you think about it. Investment opportunities in Iraq's energy sector open to Iranian companies. Speaking at a joint meeting with the president of Iran's Chamber of Commerce, the envoy highlighted Baghdad's efforts to increase bilateral trade and attract Iranian investors to strategic projects. There are 27 renewable energy opportunities across 14 provinces, 2 major oil and gas projects, 22 investment slots in heavy and medium industries, 9 industrial zones and free trade areas, 10 in agriculture, mostly in provinces bordering Iran, 10 in healthcare, and 25 in residential housing. Those sound like some nice projects to get started? Abdullah noted that investment prospects in Iraq's free zones and industrial parks alone could exceed $70 billion, asserting that expanded Iranian involvement would help balance trade between the two nations. Meanwhile, there is a call for streamlining banking guarantees and investment facilitations, stressing the joint production and investment ventures are amongst Iran's economic priorities. He also urged greater transparency regarding investors' ownership rights and legal assurances to increase Iranian participation, particularly ahead of the up-and-coming investment forum, where 140 Iraqi projects will be presented. So this helps out both Iraq and Iran. Surprisingly, these projects should bring a lot of jobs to Iraq, which means Iraqi people get paid money, and then they go out and buy things that they need and things that they want, stimulating the economy. That's what we want to get going. So a deadly drill drives Iraq to rethink military training. This article is ridiculously long. What's happening is Iraq is using old military training standards and methods, I guess is the best way to put it. I mean, these go all the way back to World War II. And this explains why some people are dying in the beginning stages of the training. You can see right here, it says the recent deaths of 2 cadets during the training exercise have reignited long-standing concerns about Iraqi military education model, which critics argue remain locked in outdated Cold War era doctrine. So the article goes over giving you examples of what they're talking about. To give you another idea of what they have to go through, inadequate medical support and nutrition services further compound the problem. Cadets frequently train on empty stomachs, and medical teams are ill-equipped to handle heat stroke and dehydration. Without systemic reform, Iraqi's military education will remain an exercise in endurance rather than in science of readiness. So obviously there's going to be calls for comprehensive reform, while the immediate policy changes address scheduling and chain of command accountability. Experts insist that Iraq must undertake a deeper overhaul of its military education philosophy. Essential components include modern training tools, investment in flight simulators, urban combat mock villages, and virtual reality modules to replicate battlefield scenarios without endangering cadets. Sounds like fun. Philosophical preparedness, embedding stress management courses, resilient workshops, and mental health screenings as core components of the initial 45-day phase. Enhanced nutritional and medical services, providing balanced meals, hydration stations, and medical personnel trained specifically in heat-related illnesses at every training facility. Anyways, unless these long overdue changes are implemented, the tragedy would be remembered not as a turning point, but as just another avoidable loss in a broken system. Modern warfare requires more than just physical stamina. It demands intelligence, agility, emotional resilience, and above all, leadership. Continuing to treat new cadets with outdated methods risks not only the lives, but Iraq's future defense capability. Obviously, you got to get updated. And why should Iraq be concerned about this type of readiness? Is Iraq ready to stand alone against extremist threats if the United States withdrawal goes ahead? Several years ago, we withdrew from Iraq, and then we had some extremists come over and start to take control of Iraq. That turned around and nipped us right in the butt. So when Daesh extremists seized control of swatches of Iraq's territory in 2014, many wondered whether the onslaught could have been prevented had the United States troops not withdrawn from the country 3 years earlier. Well, eventually Iraq has got to control and protect itself. As the militants surged into Iraq's second largest city, Mosul, there were reports of members of the Iraqi security forces stripping off their uniforms as they fled. "We can't beat them," an unarmed army officer told Reuters amid the chaos. "They are well trained in street fighting, and we're not. We need a whole army to drive them out of Mosul." So this goes on just to paint a scenario of the United States leaving and possible extremists coming in and trying to take over Iraq. Will Iraq be able to protect its citizens and its country? It's a good question. Look what happened in Afghanistan. I mean, that happened lickety-split. You had their own troops stripping off their clothes and deserting right away. One of the concerns is some of these extremist groups are already working in Syria and unstabling that government all over again. So if Syria starts to experience some instability, the concern is that it will spill over into Iraq. And we all know we don't want that. That'd be starting all over again. Don't sit around and go, no, that's not going to happen. The point is, can Iraq stand up by itself to protect its own country and its people without the U.S. military being there? Because if not, this Daesh insurgents could spread from Syria into Iraq, causing a lot of chaos. So although all these different things are being kicked around as discussions, there hasn't been any final decisions to be made when it comes to the U.S. removing its forces. Not yet anyways, but we're going to see what happens. Anyways, I look forward to you guys leaving a comment down below, and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.